Boo! Did we scare you?
No, it's Halloween. Everyone's been knocking on the door. Plus, I was expecting you.
Booyakasha.
In fact, you're late. I was about to start telling the story without you. All right, I've got your hot chocolates right here. There you go. One for you. One for you. And one for me. I don't like caramels. You don't like caramels? I love caramels. Do you want it? All right, we're gonna get started with the story. There once was a haunted house. I question the veracity of this story. Is it peer-reviewed? What? Peer-reviewed? It's Halloween. We're telling ghost stories. They're not real. I'm just not sure we can promote this false narrative in a data video. Show me the data! Okay, do you want me to tell you a scary story? Yes. But you also want a data video? Yes. Okay, fine. I'm gonna tell you the true story of the only murder to have ever occurred at the South Pole. What? This story has murder, mystery, maps, and historical data. Murder? Maps? Who would ever skip this video? Well, let's hope. But enough talk, more data! It's data time!
I'm Dave.
So, we're going to be talking about the untimely death of Rodney Marks. Rodney Marks was a 32-year-old Australian astrophysicist at the South Pole on the US's Amundsen Scott Station, which is in the New Zealand territory of Antarctica. This story is already sounding complicated. What did he do there? He worked on the Antarctic sub-millimeter telescope. Rodney had Tourette syndrome, and he was a heavy drinker. Oh, I feel like this is going to be important later. He was engaged to Sonja Wolter, who was the maintenance specialist on the station. He was well liked by his coworkers, and even played in a band there. Looks like penguin death metal. On May 11, 2000, Rodney felt sick while walking between the remote observatory and the base. He had severe stomach pains, nausea, and fever. Over the course of the next 36 hours, Rodney visited the station doctor 3 different times, trying to remedy his extreme pain. However, after those 36 hours, Rodney did not recover and died. What? Well, that doesn't sound too terrible. Wait, really? The station doctor, Robert Thompson, said Rodney died of natural causes, most likely due to his drinking habit. However, the specific cause of death could not be determined until his body was shipped back to New Zealand. Shipped back to New Zealand? Yes. Because of the harsh winters at the South Pole, they couldn't have anyone come in or out until it got warmer in October. Isn't October when things start to get colder? It's in the southern hemisphere, so the seasons are reversed. Oh, right. So, they had to wait 5 months until springtime before they were able to ship his body back to New Zealand. Until then, they had to keep his body on ice. Oh, that should be easy in the South Pole. Yeah. It was initially thought that his drinking habit had killed him, but that was not the case. What? A postmortem in New Zealand concluded that Rodney had in fact died from methanol poisoning. Oh. Wait, what is methanol exactly? Methanol is a type of alcohol that is toxic to humans. Ugh. New Zealand's Detective Inspector Grant Wormald investigated this incident as a crime. Wait, so why was this investigation done in New Zealand? So, Antarctican jurisdiction is confusing. Antarctica has no indigenous population, and so it has no native countries that call it home. It was just a bunch of penguins until people arrived there a few hundred years ago. Rodney was an Australian citizen on a US base in an area of Antarctica that is part of the Ross Dependency. The Ross Dependency? Is that like the Chandler Dependency? The Ross Dependency claims that 160 degrees east to 150 degrees west at the South Pole up to 6 degrees south latitude is owned by New Zealand. But the US does not accept New Zealand's claim to its territorial sovereignty, nor the application of New Zealand's law on US-based personnel. So, yeah, it's confusing. But New Zealand did conduct a postmortem on Rodney's body, and Detective Inspector Wormald did investigate Rodney's death. And what he discovered only furthered the mystery of Rodney's death. Oh yeah, I can tell by the music. The investigation tried to theorize what could have caused Rodney's methanol poisoning. Wait, so how do we know this wasn't like suicide? So investigators looked into this theory. Did Rodney want to kill himself? Some reports say there were needle marks in his arms, but no illegal drugs were found in his system. Rodney was well-liked and engaged. His fiancée worked on the station, so nobody suspected that Rodney would want to end his life. Some people have trouble coping with life on a remote base at the South Pole, but Rodney had actually been to the South Pole previously and came back. Most importantly, he went to the doctor several times before dying and never said anything about poisoning himself. I mean, who tries to poison himself and then go to the doctor? Could he have taken the methanol intentionally? The investigators did look into recreational ingestion. Rodney was a heavy drinker and had Tourette's syndrome. Some theorize that maybe he self-medicated by drinking methanol. But the station had a well-stocked bar. There was no need for him to resort to drinking methanol. Well, couldn't he have taken the methanol accidentally? So investigators looked into the theory that Rodney had accidentally ingested the methanol. But the only methanol on the base was in very diluted cleaning solutions that were used to clean the telescopes on the base. Remember the telescopes? Sub-millimeter. Very complicated. Got it. The telescopes were last cleaned back in January. Rodney died in May. So the methanol would have been locked away for the season, and they were labeled, so there's no way anyone could have been able to accidentally ingest it. So then, how did he ingest the methanol? Well, investigators ruled out all other possibilities, so that leaves only one last theory: homicide. Detective Inspector Warmold concluded that Rodney must have ingested the methanol unknowingly. So who did kill him? And why? And how? That's where the mystery becomes that much more frustrating. There wasn't much for the investigators to go off of. What about the doctor that said Rodney had died of natural causes? How come he didn't catch the methanol poisoning right away? Dr. Robert Thompson, the station doctor, didn't have all of the same equipment that they had in New Zealand. However, the investigation revealed that he did have access to a blood analyzer machine that would have proven Rodney was poisoned. However, Dr. Thompson didn't use it because he said it was turned off to save power and would have been too difficult to turn on and maintain. Ugh, that sounds suspicious. Couldn't he have called for help? He said, and records confirm, that the night of Rodney's death, the communication system with the outside world was down, and he couldn't get the technical support that he needed. However, there are more mysterious things about Dr. Robert Thompson. Like what? He had to be airlifted out of the South Pole due to a back injury. So, he was the third station doctor that had to be airlifted out for medical reasons. Since then, he's vanished. I couldn't even find a picture of him. Where'd he go? No one seems to know. Also, Robert Thompson is the name of a 10-year-old killer who abducted and tortured a 2-year-old boy. Coincidence? Yeah. Now this just sounds like conspiracy theories. Speaking of conspiracy theories, there are several other unconfirmed reports that raise more questions about what happened. Like what? Some reports say the station made their own moonshine, which is dangerous because it can be tainted with methanol if not properly distilled. But you said the station had a well-stocked bar. Why would they make their own moonshine and risk poison if they already had real liquor? Don't know. Some people said there was a mysterious bottle that Rodney had with him from Portugal that had some sort of liquid in it. Maybe it was tainted alcohol that he was drinking. Some people even say he had a messy desk with methanol just lying around. What about the other people on the base? There can't have been that many people on the base, and they were all stuck there during winter. The list of suspects must have been small. They were. There were only 49 people on the base at the time of the murder. Didn't the investigators interview them? Well, the people on the US base were employed by the American National Science Foundation. Reports claim that the American NSF did not cooperate with the New Zealand investigation. However, the NFS denies this claim. The NFS sent out questionnaires to all 49 people on the base, but only 13 people responded. What? Why didn't everybody respond? Why didn't the Americans and the New Zealanders work together? Why wasn't there more done to resolve this mystery? Nobody knows. All this happened back in 2000, and by 2006, there still weren't any answers. Rodney's family essentially gave up hope that they would ever solve the mystery of their son's death. To this day, Rodney Marks is the first and only person to have ever been murdered in the entire continent of Antarctica. That's it? That's it. I told you it was a mystery. That wasn't very scary. Well, you wanted a data video that was based on real evidence. Yeah, but I'm not scared I'm gonna be murdered in some remote Arctic station. Antarctic. What's the difference? Arctic is the North Pole, Antarctic is the South Pole. Yeah, whatever. I'm not scared because I don't live on some remote snow base. So you two want to really be scared? Well then look behind you. Boo! That scare ya? How many of us are there?
As many or as few as I want. All of you are expendable. Ah! Happy Halloween!